I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. We want to focus on the jungle matchup in particular. And several hours ago during Countdown, we were talking a lot about Inspired and what we want to see from him in order to help evil geniuses. Now, when you see the statistics on your screen, Juhan versus Inspired, you look at the early game in terms of jungle proximity, relatively similar. But what I draw my attention to is the kills plus assists at 14, where you're seeing a little bit more impact here from Inspired.
Yeah, and I think Inspired has been crucial to evil geniuses throughout the course of MSI. The fact that he's been going towards picks like the Viego, where not only can he have that early presence, but also be that big carry in team fights as well. He's been able to turn around a lot of these games, including against like Saigon Buffalo, where we had that Rift Herald fight yesterday, where he got just popped off with a triple kill on the Viego. It feels like there's so much revolving around evil geniuses getting Inspired into a good spot.
And I think if they can find momentum off the back of him, it sets up that carries you can deliver in the later stages, and him having a good game will be, I feel, instrumental for EG coming out ahead in this matchup.
One of the things we talked about during Countdown was how different EG look when he's playing those sort of farm to 6. The Kai'Sa, for example, was one of them. Didn't really work out. And I think because of how important Inspired is going to be, I want to ask a question. Would you be surprised if either of these teams picked up the victory? And what I want to get at here is, who do you actually think is favored to win?
So I'm actually really caught on this. And even when I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't really know. Because I feel like when you look at Inspired, he should be able to get a lead in the early stages. But my biggest worry is Evil Genius's vision control at objectives has been really poor throughout, like both domestically and MSI. The neutral objective fights as a result can be a little bit messy. And it feels like that's where PSG Talon have thrived. And I'm a bit worried that even if they get these early leads, just the team fighting and the objective set from PSG Talon could actually be the difference maker here, where PSG Talon take it.
I feel like for me, there's a pivotal member on each side. I've already talked about Inspired being so instrumental for EG, but on the other side, we've seen EG's bot lane struggle a bit. If PSG find an advantage, Kaiwing gets freed up to roam, and he can be like a second jungler. So suddenly, it's no longer Inspired against Juhan, it's also Kaiwing coming in. He had some beautiful timings on roams yesterday, so that could be such a massive factor in them finding an advantage.
Let's take a look at some of Inspired's plays throughout the tournament here at MSI and draw in a little bit more specifically, how do you want to see him attack this particular game? Because as you mentioned already, I think Kaiwing's impact on the map has definitely been felt, Orcs.
Yeah, I think opt into those skirmishes, make sure that you have your support with you so you're matching in numbers, and then have faith that Inspired will outperform on picks like the Viego. But on top of that, he can find early ganks and make those opportunities happen. Particularly, the expectation is that mid lane is a bit of a weakness for PSG.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the game earlier today where EG's draft was, let's say, debatable amongst at least us here in the studio, but their play-in game was definitely exhilarating and energizing. They seem to have a fire that I haven't quite seen in some of the previous games. What are you anticipating from their approach to this game against PSG?
I think we'll see a very similar story, but just from the way jojopyun was playing that game, right? Because as Ox was kind of highlighting there, I think Bay has been a big weak point for PSG. Talon hasn't been able to shut down his opponent, and especially when jojopyun wants to get out and roam, wants to try and play towards these side lanes, I feel like that's going to be a crucial point here in trying to unlock Jojo, start to look for the skirmishes that Ox was talking about, and make sure that you're able to have like the Twisted Fates, the Rises, even the LeBlanc that has been such a crucial pick for him domestically.
Right, let's summarize this very briefly. Bottom lane, we favor PSG. Mid lane, we favor EG. And with some of the factors that have gone into this one, I'm going to ask you to make a prediction and how the team will win.
All right, so I think it'll be EG because I think jojopyun and Inspired can kind of get that lead in the early stages. But I don't know, if you don't generate that, I think PSG Talon's team fighting is just better.
I think EG, unless bot lane falls over, which they've been better at so far, I think that EG just will outperform in the later stage fights and Inspired will be unleashed.
Arguably, this is one of the first times we're going to truly see the battle for the bottom three, the battle for that final semi-final spot in action. I don't know who's going to win either. I am hearing we have a small delay before we get to game. So let's talk about picks and bans now. Champions, what do you want to see from, let's say, either team, but I think specifically, let's focus on the junglers, let's focus on the bottom lane.
Well, I think we've seen Wukong have such a high priority, right? And EG left it over to G2 as that first pick. Don't do that again, right? Prioritize yourself if you can. I think it's a fantastic pick. If it's not available, Viego can be stellar for Inspired, but also something that's been coming out quite a bit is this blind Ezreal. Danny's done it quite a bit. Gala's done it quite a bit. It will be punished by the Kai'Sa again and again. And I feel like we've seen Ezreal lanes really struggle early.
Yeah, I think for EG, I really want to see them try and prioritize a higher pick order on the likes of the mid and the jungle. I think these are both going to be crucial, and we kind of got left to the wayside in their game earlier on today. But also, I think for PSG Talon, looking across, Kaiwing's Rakan has been absolutely insane. Like we saw it yesterday, it's been a big pick for him on the international stage in years gone by as well. And I feel like that's something that we can definitely lean into with him having those roams, having those opportunities to find those big engages.
There are so many possibilities here. I cannot wait to see the game unfold. And I'm being told something that apparently there's a new Doug duo at the caster desk. Traders, get ready. Azael and Phreak are joining for the cast.
Thank you very much. We tunneled our way here. Very excited to be here with my Diglett on arms here. Azael, how you doing, man? I'm
doing well. EG could be doing better, though. And maybe, they'll get us a win here, put a smile back on my face.
Yeah. I mean, I'm within 5 feet of you, so smiles on my face kind of at all times. You know. EG may be losing, but I'm winning, with present company being here. I think it's going to be a fun game. We had the analysts talk about the fact that they are predicting EG a bit, talk about the bottom lane. I'm going to focus on that one because I am the one who started the bet, for those who watched yesterday. How many deaths will the EG bot lane have pre-5 minutes across the Rumble stage, across those 10 games, not counting tiebreakers? We had predictions as high as 11. Emily had 3, I had 4. They're at 1 out of 3 games right now. So they are on pace for both Emily and my predictions. So I'm happy that, we're the smart analysts.
And I do think that EG has been getting better, but the question is, are you getting better fast enough, and are you going to get, improve enough to be able to compete with the big dogs? Because right now it looks like a clear top 3 and a bottom 3. And EG is fighting to try to stay on top of the bottom, basically, here, and to be able to make the semifinals. Right now you're going up against PSG. This is an incredibly important match because both EG and PSG took down the Buffalo. So these are the 2 teams that are tied right now. Whoever wins is going to be, up 1 game on that race for semifinals. And I do think one thing to point out is that, EG has had some really solid contributors. I think Inspired and Impact have been pretty much good throughout all of the games. I think that jojopyun is beginning to step up. And to me, I hate to kind of point fingers, but I do think that we need to see more out of Danny. And I think we need to see better drafting from EG because I do think they have been behind from the word go in a number of these games. And Danny has not performed to the level that he did in the LCS playoffs, or really even near it, EG was not expected to win the LCS. They went on a huge tear, and Danny was playing out of his mind. So for them to be able to compete at the level that I think people were hoping and expecting, Danny has got to play better.
Yeah, because he's, I think, always been a really solid team fight player. His landing phase has always been, through his literally 1-year-long career in pro play, like, it's always been his weak point, and that's fine. Like, you're allowed to have some weaknesses. You're an 18-year-old player, that's fine. Sometimes you get FLICKR, who's just incredible the whole way through, and hey, grats EG, good scouting. But yeah, Danny, okay, sure, he's got some weak points, but yeah, I need to see his mid-game play at the level he was playing the mid-game this whole year.
Absolutely, and I do think his laning phase, did improve from last year to this year in the LCS. Of course, there have been struggles here. Even just looking at the amount of deaths he had in the entire LCS playoff runs of 18 games, it was about as many deaths as he had against G2 in the 4 games against them in the group stage. So, he was getting punished a lot more, but not just in lane, outside of lane, because obviously EG is losing a lot more. You're just going to die more often when your team loses the team fights. But this will be a very interesting one. I want to see EG drafting with confidence. LeBlanc so far is up. Ahri so far is up. Trading OPs is absolutely fine. jojopyun forgoed picking that LeBlanc, against G2 earlier when it was left open. I would have loved to see him, slap that down. Of course, you have to be worried about things like the Lissandra counterpick, particularly Caps is great on that, so maybe that was the concern. But I don't think you beat these top teams by, paying too much respect to them, by always worrying about everything that they could be doing. You've got to play what your strengths are, you've got to play with confidence, and just see what you can do.
Well, looking for confidence here from PSG Talon. Based on the way the games have played, I think you maybe favor EG very slightly in the matchup, but this is the battle. Like, this, to all expectations, is the fight for the spot in semifinals. We're all predicting G2, T1, RNG, but there's a 4th spot out there. It looks like PSG Talon and Evil Geniuses are the teams fighting for it. So you play with confidence. Okay, we got the 2 big early game AD carries at the table. Ezreal taken off the table right now. Of course, we've seen R, we've seen it answered, but saying, hey, unified, it's on you.
And absolutely. I mean, this is one of those things where they know it's been a big pick for Danny. They're going to take away the Ezreal, and they're basically saying, we don't care which side of the mid lane matchup we get. Ahri is still available. If you grab the Kai'Sa, this is something I would really like. I want to see Vulcan back towards the Nautilus. I do think he's been more effective when he's been playing that than on the Leona. I would love to see that pairing. Grab an Ahri or LeBlanc, really whichever you're feeling more confident on here. I think Ahri is that kind of higher priority pick these days. Most people do really think it has the edge, but LeBlanc is just something that is a jojopyun specialty. It's when he's playing with confidence that he's at his best. You know, this is a guy, he has that swagger, he has that cockiness. Whether it's deserved or not, you know, that's something you can kind of debate. But so far, they're going to leave it off. They still can go third pick mid. They're trying to, I think, make Bay show what they want to go with first. Diana would surprise me. You know, Graves, I think, alongside an AP mid, feels kind of like more their style. As Juhan has been relatively inactive, I would say, in the jungle, you know, both throughout the PCS playoffs as well as here. He is relatively low activity in the early stages.
Yeah.
Ahri going to be the grab here. So now, yeah, I'm just really curious, is it going to be the LeBlanc answer from jojopyun, or does he have something else? Is he going to be bringing out the Vex? That's something that, you know, we've seen a lot of teams doing. I don't really think it's a counter. I think it's like an answer,
Sure.
you know?
Right. Your lane's fine, and you're also a good champion.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, Nocturne hovering still. Will that be the jungle lock-in? Does give you a lot of silent pressure. No, we're going to see Graves come through.
Okay.
Almost certainly see the Umbral Graves version. And I like him. I like him, to be fair, a little bit more alongside someone like a Zoe, who's like much more poke-focused. But in general, lethality build, Dark Harvest, mid laner gets someone at 30%. You finish the job with the ulti. I think it's a very good synergy. Usually, you're not quite lethal enough just by yourself as a mid laner unless you're absurdly ahead. And at that point, here's what your comp is. So I think it does really fit well. Long range reach. Ezreal can do something similar. So a lot of these champions can help Bay if he can pop up.
jojopyun going to be on that LeBlanc. Really excited to see this. That pairing, you know, with Inspired. Lisa and LeBlanc, it's a classic, really strong 2v2ing there around mid lane. Would like to see them contesting that. I do think that is where, you know, a lot of people are looking at EG having a significant edge. Bay and Juhan have not been some of the best performers in this event. You know, they have struggled, I think, at times, and EG, you know, have the champions to perhaps take advantage of that. I do really like the Karma ban here. You know, Ezreal people are looking at as this kind of weak side champion. It's mostly been picked with roamers and with tanks, but when paired with Karma, can be pretty dominant in that 2v2, especially against Kai'Sa, who's relatively short range, can be kind of poked out and harassed. Nautilus being taken away makes sense. I'm just curious to see if they're actually going to double ban tanks, if they'll ban out Leona as well, like, you know, how heavily they want to do this. Because there is fourth pick, of course, here, you know, for EG, so you're expecting them to grab a tank support on 4, and then 5th pick for Impact. Because Impact has been one of the guys who has actually been, I think, making pretty good use of the counter picks. Even if he's not performing at the best in every single game with them, like his laning phase on Jackson and the Gwen was a little bit suspect. But, you know, he brought out the Mord, he brought out the Jax, he's brought out a number of picks, you know, really good answers that he's comfortable with and I think can perform well on. So saving 5th pick for him makes a lot of sense up against Hanabi, who has been the best performing player for him.
Yeah, and I think EG right now are tunneling on the idea of engage. They got rid of the Karma, okay, whatever, but I think they're grabbing Leona, like right away, here. Vulcan's play it yet again. It'll be his 6th time on Leona. Of course, teams need engage. Actually, that's a hover. That's a hover. Yeah. And then Danny hovered that and Seraphine and Zoe in the previous game. So, hey, look, he's doing it again. Wow, got all 3, and then he's going to go ahead and grab Leona. I watch EG games.
Facts.
I know Danny's hovers. That's how much I watch EG games.
Sometimes, and some of the games we wish we were watching. You know, it can hurt a little bit.
Yeah. Now I gotta remember if like he's spelling anything with those.
LSZ, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I don't see it.
Could be anything, right?
Yeah,
could be champions he likes, could be friends. But they are going to go Leona. Now we find out, you know, is it going to be some sort of an enchanter, some sort of a more lane dominant style that they're looking, or more what we are expecting, which is an additional engage support. You know, that has pretty much been everything we're seeing out of Kaiwing. GP ban, Gnar pick makes sense as a blind, and Impact's not the kind of guy to really go like Aurelia and those hyper-aggressive things. You know, often what we saw as an answer from Impact into this matchup was actually the Jace. You know, when you think back to like regional play, he would like those kind of picks. And I'm curious to see where he does take us as far as that goes.
He played Rakan and Rel as engaged champions, so I don't love either of those lanes, to be honest, alongside an Ezreal.
Bard is definitely a stronger lane.
Yeah, definitely a stronger lane. Goes Rakan anyway. Okay. Again, I don't think this lane is outstanding.
No.
It is very hard for Ezreal to follow up on damage until you land W. You're not landing anything really on your spell combo there.
Yeah.
But if Rakan can go roam away, Ezreal's a pretty good 1v2.
And Rakan in general is I feel like you're not picking for lane, right? You're kind of like sacking your lane, at least your kill potential, your ability to play dominant in that 2v2. More for the 5v5, more for some of these skirmishes here.
Ooh.
Tryndamere, a quick lock there from Impact. Has been very good on the Tryndamere, you know, regionally. Already brought it out one game here at MSI. Did win on that, was deathless as well, so had a strong performance. And this is an interesting comp here, you know, because you can play pretty heavily towards the 5v5. I do think their skirmishing is very strong. I think Inspired is going to be playing heavily towards the top side. You need to be playing behind Tryndamere, playing with LeBlanc. But I'd like to see EG playing through mid first and then moving to sides. Try to get LeBlanc ahead, unlock that, move out to the sides, snowball the Tryndamere. They're looking more for that. Whereas I think on the other side, you know, for PSG, there's a lot less ganking options. A lot of this feels like farm and scale to me. You know, when you're thinking about the Graves, the Ezreal, the Rakan, you know, Gnar is even more of just kind of that later stage pick. So we'll see what PSG wants to do, but not a lot of great ganking options here for Juhan unless, you know, the EG bot lane are really overextended and the Rakan can kind of have that gank assist. I do think it'll be difficult for Juhan to really get much done as far as the ganks are concerned. So they're just going to try to have to play, you know, a bit more stable and hope that their skirmishing can kind of win out in the later stages, which is really how they've won all of their games. When you look at all the wins that they got in group stage, it was relatively even early games. They win a fight, they get Baron, they win the game. If that doesn't happen, generally PSG doesn't win.
We'll see if they can do it here, though. Mid-game is gonna be where our eyes are peeled. Expected battle for 4th. The expected battle for the last spot in semifinals, if everything else goes to expectation, goes according to seeding. And I think these teams know this coming in, right? They both knocked down the Vietnamese representatives yesterday in Saigon Buffalo. And I think your eyes are on like, yeah, we know how good G2 is. We know how good everyone else is. This is the team that we are stratting against the most. This is the team we are going to prep against the most. Then we'll see our semi-opponent and go from there. If I'm either of these teams like GMs or head coaches, like this is the team I am prepping like 80% of my time on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a must-win for these teams. It is so incredibly important because the top 3 have looked ridiculously dominant, right? You just cannot expect to get a win for sure off of T1 or G2 or RNG. So you really have to take down PSG. You really have to take down Saigon Buffalo. You really have to take down EG if you're one of those bottom 3 teams.
And now we get to see level 1. Not terribly spicy. I think no one crossed over except for the Tryndamere here, who got himself in. And otherwise, just wards in the river. And not going to be too much. It's going to be, once again, Vulcan taking his... I don't think he actually put a ward down, recalled Sweeper. So if you put a ward down and then recall and buy Sweeper, your Sweeper's not up until jungle monsters spawn. If you don't put a ward down, you switch Sweeper right away, you can clear deep wards in your own jungle. So if they think there is an early aggressive play, or if they think, you know, someone ran over and put a ward down on the bottom brush, which by the way they did, for example, you can sweep it away, you know, before minions crash and before you can do anything. And indeed, that's why he didn't put a ward down with Sweeper early. They now get brushed.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, so many of these wards have become very, very common that it's one of those things where you've got to expect it. You've got to look towards your level 1 prep. Level 1 prep for warding is one of the easiest things coaches and analysts can do because you literally just go to level 1, you take a screenshot of a pre-minion spawn, you look at the common warding spots. Some teams do get pretty lazy with the variants and are doing the same things almost every single game. So it is important to do that prep and to try to have that early knowledge on where they may be playing towards.
Yep, it's good to see, especially if you ever find, you know, later on warding habits like, oh, you know, the mid laner only rewards in the 4th wave. We can get him on the 3rd. He'll never ward this one. You know, if you like spend more time, you have more analysts, and you're like, I know even more of your habits. Like that can be really, really cool for you.
And I think that's one of the things where you can really get an advantage by playing atypical, right? By being one of those players that doesn't do the same thing every time. You know, if you're a jungler who's willing to actually do an inefficient path to have a gank at an unexpected timing, that's something that's a lot harder to play around. You know, even if only 1 of every 4 games are going for, you know, a weird path into an early gank, people have to play with respect to that, which can limit the advantages that people are able to create, you know, in the laning phase. They have to pay respect to the possibility of those types of plays. And if there was one thing I would be critical of Inspired, it is that he is you know, a very farm-heavy style jungler. You know, and as a result, he is more predictable. I think he's been performing incredibly well, but he is not, you know, the same kind of style as you when you look at like a Jankos, who's mixing it up constantly with weird ganks. Yeah,
I remember when G2 played EG earlier today, Jankos had 2 ganks off and was down half the camp. It's like, you're on Wukong. One of them was a kill.
Efficient ganks?
Yeah, or a flash, I guess, for us. But yeah, really, really cool stuff. So we get to see what's up next here. EG do indeed get lane priority. Not really a surprise. Leona Kai'Sa should have pressure and Inspired. 5
looking for a dive.
Skips Gromp. Scuttle's up right now, but they're going for the dive. Will it be enough is the question. He's not going to find the Zenith Blade, and that's time to leave. Ahri had roamed down as well, by the way, that should have been called out. Of course, hit the Scryer's Bloom as well. Ultimately, nothing lost. Maybe a wave for Bay as he keeps back.
Yeah, gonna go for that. I mean, won't be much missed here at all, though, for Inspired. They're gonna move up and help him get the Scuttle. He can go back to his Gromp, of course. But swing and a miss there on the early try from EG. It's a tough one to pull off because it is cleanse and exhaust. You know, even if you flash Q in, then you're going to die on the way out, pretty much guaranteed. So I think the thought is you have to hit the Zenith Blade to start this because you need to be able to flash out before you die to the tower to not give a kill over.
Yeah.
You know, so EG not going to start that off with Vulcan's flash. Play it for the higher risk, kind of higher reward. Doesn't pay off this time, but really not much of a cost besides a couple seconds there from Inspired. You can see his base is going to be a little bit behind that of Juhan, so Juhan will be out on the map here a bit faster.
You know, it's really going to be just chilling here with the waves going down. Got a nice Dark Shield pickup on one side, a Doran's Ring, slightly more expensive on the other, plus boots. And we'll see if there's going to be anything spicy going on down there as you get a little bit of pushback now for the PSG bottom lane as the wave is kind of collecting up. Juhan is around, gets rid of a zombie ward, so that's actually vision known. We know Graves' bot side. I think with the lingering vision, should actually know he controlled that brush and playing really close attention. So maybe that could be played around. That could be hard to track if you're busy waiting.
Yeah, they pinged it. They pinged the brush. You know, there's a very high chance. And if you're really on top of it and you hit tab as soon as Graves actually shows, you can see there's a ping ward in his inventory. You know, you can kind of intuit that it may be placed around there. But very clearly, they are aware of it. They pinged the brush, and Danny didn't drop his Trinket Ward into River, so that tells me that they think there is a pretty good chance it is in that brush. You should be able to know where he is, generally speaking, just based off the camp respawns, because Graves, you know, is a pretty farm-heavy jungler. The Krug's going to be the first camp to respawn, so he's going to be playing towards bot side. Of course, Inspired's going to be clearing top towards bot. Took down his Krugs already. He's over there on Raptors. So both junglers, you know, pretty much at parity here, and all things really even very early on, besides that CS advantage for Danny down in the bot lane.
Which is good to see. EG pressed the 5 minutes mark. We're at 4 EG games in with 1 death pre 5 minutes. We'll keep that one tracked because it was a habit in the LCS play. That's why I brought up topping in the first place, because even against some of the LCS's best, right, he was getting punished quite a lot in the early games. And obviously the competition gets stiffer when you play against the world's best, and at least in the Rumble stage, holding up reasonably well here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Danny has been, you know, a massive liability, you know, in the Rumble stage, but he has not performed to the level that people expect. You know, it is hard to have those heavy expectations on a really young player. This is his first time to an international event, but this is a guy who did like 31% of his team's damage, right? Like he was the team's win condition come team fight time. Absolutely, they funnel all their resources into him. And when you're looking more towards, you know, MSI, there was one Ezreal game where it kind of ended up being that way, but mostly it's been playing more heavily, I think, around picks for impact, been playing more heavily around mid and jungle, and as JoJo's been stepping up, he's been getting more involved. Yeah. But we'll see if Danny, you know, can have that kind of pop-off game that maybe builds his confidence and kind of springboards him into a better second round robin performance. Right,
yeah, a big identity for EG when they won the LCS was they just were really, really focused around playing bot lane. They were always prioritizing giving him farm, donating Rift Heralds, donating towers and whatnot. And yeah, he popped off in damage and whatnot. But yeah, here at MSI, just sub 26% damage share, so, you know, 6 percentage points below what he was doing in spring playoffs. Like, obviously pretty meaningful difference there. But we have seen Inspired and Impact play very, very well. jojopyun wards 1, but Pei's going to find the charm and do a whole lot of damage. Will it be the rest, though, as Juhan's going to be busy taking the red buff away, so just a trade of damage, and his might to take red.
And this is a really smart invade because of what's happening on top side, as we'll see a little trade there, because, you know, Hanabi had the push, he's playing TP, he gets the shove in, he gets the early tabbies by, Impact has not based or bought, and the wave is at his tower, so he can't really move to help. Gonna force the ulti there. Nice chain from jojopyun, but it's just a smart invade because there's not really a lot of risk, right? If you try to contest, Impact's gonna lose his wave. He hasn't bought, so he's relatively weak. So PSG are really safe to do that. Inspired late to make the counter invade. They do have push on bot, but this may result in a fight. Remember, Ahri has no ult, so if she joins, will not be as strong.
Ulti on a ward, but smiteable. Yeah. Juhan did not have smite available, and I think that was actually a trackable smite, knowing that his item was out of inventory. If you're really paying attention, you know how many smite charges you get, what the cooldowns are, and pretty easy claim for Inspired.
And I just like that play because they force the Ahri's ult mid, right? I think if you haven't forced Ahri's ult, then that's pretty risky. You know, easy ult over into the Raptors pit, you know, 2 ulti charges and you're there. You can try to contest, maybe try to make something happen, but because that is down, it's very unlikely that Bey is actually going to try to move when he's getting pushed in and has no ulti available. So relatively safe, you know, worst case, you lose out on the smite, but don't think there was really any risk with first move from bot and no ult on Ahri of dying. So nicely done there.
As we heard from the analyst desk, if nothing too crazy goes on in the bottom lane, they are expecting an EG victory, but we also know PSG Talon loves their mid game and getting ready for that one. Yeah. So they are cruising towards their own mid game.
And Unified, has evened out the farm. Obviously, Danny, was a bit ahead, but Kaiwing was able to actually hold the wave, even that out, get a little bit of a freeze. So very good things happening for PSG in the bot lane as well. And Unified has been really kind of the key member for them. When you look towards the PCS, I think at MSI, it's been more about Hanabi. He's been kind of their best performer. But Unified is the guy that was winning them a lot of the games, was a massive contributor in the team fights. This could be a smite fight.
First scuttle fight should be improved smite for both junglers here. 900 claim, nicely done by Juhan. Inspired forced out. Now the team fight happens. Vulcan low finds it done, healed right back out. Kaiwing able to get away as well, but a chase in. And the cleanse and the charm's not going to be enough. A kick flash in. Juhan's going to drop. You may have gotten a Herald, but EG grabbed 2 scalps.
Nicely done by EG. The kick flash grabbing that second kill, and Impact flashing in to grab the first one there. Really well done. Both the kills go towards these big carries here for EG, Jojo, as well as Danny, and they can even move towards the Dragon on the bottom side. The Herald did go to Juhan, but Inspired, I think, was about a split second away from his smite charge being up. It may have come up right as it died, but it was really, really close. Impact still has his ultimate, wants to get this pushed in, but of course doesn't want to have to waste the ulti to do so. But EG are going to be able to collect a couple kills, are going to be able to grab the Dragon. We'll watch this one more time. Yeah, you can see the smite is still on cooldown. It's came up right as it died. Either way, they go into Vulcan, but Vulcan very tanky here. Kaiwing gets low. The E followed up by the flash there from Impact, gets into the backline, finishes him off, and then Inspired finding Juhan. Q, kick flash, right back into the waiting arms of Danny and Jojo. Grabbing those kills, really big here for EG. And off to the races with the early Dragon as well.
Yeah, an important thing to track then is when you get the first Herald, do you have an injured turret, right? You'd love to find first turret, get 3 plates out of the crash from it being, pretty injured, and you kind of turn that one around. Because Herald itself, okay, baseline value 320 gold, right? Charges in, kills 2 plates, Juhan gets 1, Unify gets the other one. Okay, great, 320. Doesn't tie the game up. But if you knock down a turret with that one, you add 650 to that number, and you're like, oh, that's a good 1,000 gold. We're back in this one. So mid lane has lost 1 plate, but top and bottom mostly unscratched, means this is likely to be that 300 gold Herald charge and not the 1,000 gold.
Yeah, very likely. Just the 1 plate off of mid lane. So EG has been doing pretty well in these lanes, the farm. Slightly in the favor of PSG though, and that's keeping gold close here as Impact. We'll see if he commits this. I don't think he will. But as soon as he goes mini, trying to take an aggressive trade there. If you get lucky with a couple crits, that can turn into an all-in potentially. But without Ghost and with Hanabi having Flash, it's very unlikely that it was going to be more than just a good trade there from Impact.
You ultimately trade your health bar down. You do have more sustain. Of course, yes, we have fleet footwork on Gnar, but ranged shots don't do that much against minions. Obviously, you can kite it pretty well. Rush the Steel Cats because Trynd is very auto-attack focused. But this is how you play this matchup. Same with kind of Aurelia, where you take a trade where you lose similar amounts of health, but you get more back, and then that trade is good for you.
Gore Drinker already finished up here for Inspired pretty early on. Impact getting shoved out, and Hanabi about to mega, but looks like it's just kind of prepping for this scuttle. We'll see if EG actually want to fight over this. I mean, I don't think there's really any need to. They are moving up to just try to push in this wave once again, but Danny going to be able to collect solo gold on that plate down on bot side. And Inspired just trying to control some vision here, around mid lane. It kind of has been this battle back and forth. PSG keeping vision down between mid and bot as EG are trying to move down here and threaten a 4-man dive.
Ooh.
But Juhan's coming out of base, and we see Bay moving as well.
Bit low on mana, though perceptibly high. Ult's going to come across onto 2. They find a slow. There's a triple knock-up. Beautifully done, but it's going to be enough anyway. Inspired, look for the kick into the wall. Doesn't get much done. And it's going to be an escape there. PSG Talon survive against 4.
Nicely done by PSG Talon. Unified not even having to use the flash. Did cleanse just the ulti slow, and then was able to avoid enough of the CC. And Kaiwing with a really good engage there, knocking up multiple members, getting them with the charm. And now off of that health advantage, they're trying to get more here from this Herald. You can see Vulcan low on health, but is shadowing them just to try to make sure there's no sort of a dive coming through. As soon as he realizes it's just going to be the initial crash, he starts the recall. Gonna head right back to base, but a good bit of mitigation there from PSG, because if you lose the bot lane, if you lose those plates following that, it's gonna put EG way ahead.
Oh, 1K still remains the difference, and yeah, just that two plate crash, right? So EG definitely feeling comfortable. You can kind of tell though, this is the game where both teams are taking it incredibly seriously. The fact that it's 2 kills at about 14 minutes. Anytime you have like an absurdly low kill game, that's the one where everyone's like, okay, but this is when it really happens. Like, I feel like game 1 of playoffs is so often like that. We're just like, okay, now it's time.
Almost always in
and
best
everyone's just like so serious and like they're not willing to go for a broke, and it's like first blood in 12 minutes.
I mean, you don't want to be the guy to cost your team the game, right? And sometimes it does become about, you know, playing to not lose. And that's why you sometimes need one of those players who just has that supreme confidence to go for it. Because if a team is not willing to make that play themselves, you can get an advantage by being the ones to set up the play, to preempt it, to try to really take advantage of someone playing passive.
Yeah, it's what Gumiuchi said about their game 1 loss to G2, where he came in like, G2 were known as a T1 killers. Like, I was nervous coming into it, and I just didn't play as well as I should have. Like, there were so many things I could have done that I didn't because it's G2.
But what if it goes
They're scary,
wrong?
right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's against the
Caps
21.
is pretty scary, to be fair.
I mean, Caps is maybe the best player in the world right now. You could quote me on that. That man is amazing. But, like, he's against a 21-year-old rookie. Like, Guma, you can do this, man. You've been doing it, right? But he was afraid because the nameplate's over. There's a G2 in front. That's scary. And FLICKR is really good. I want to be clear about that one. And here's PSG EG, and they're like, but this is the battle for 4th. Like, this is playoffs. This is really important. I'm scared.
Yeah, and sometimes the other side of that is that if you have the read that you outscale, you don't have to do anything. You're just chilling, right? And I'm not sure if both these teams kind of have that read or if it is more just kind of, you know, playing a little bit nervous. You know, at the same time, you know, EG is getting things from this game being played slowly. Tryndamere scales very, very well. You know, you can get towards that Gale Force, start to really have that all-in threat on Hanabi in the side lane. You know, that's kind of what they are looking for up in that top lane. But, you know, Graves, scaling farm jungler here. Ezreal going to be a threat, going to be hard to lock down in the later stages. So we'll see who can kind of get more.
Here we go, got a fight going on here. Impact on 100 HP, goes with the ulti right at the right time.
Yeah, he's gotta back up.
Yep, easily kites him away. Thank you to the hyper move speed, but now a 4-on-4 on the bottom side. Second dragon it would be for EG. That's gonna be a stun and an easy claim. Smite didn't come through, but they get it all the same. EG sit on this 1,000 gold lead, growing slightly, and now 26-minute Dragon Soul Ocean.
Yep, really nicely played by Vulcan there, actually. I really like the ultimate because PSG was not posturing to fight. They were posturing just to steal. So you see Juhan is basically playing the very edge of his smite range. So all he had to do is just drop the Leona ulti, threaten the engage. Juhan jumps back. That means he's not going to be able to actually contest the smite. They get it. Yes, they will take down mid lane, but again, EG doing EG things. Danny gets all of the gold off of that bot lane tower, which is more valuable than that shared gold that you're going to kind of get through mid.
Last time I saw bot lane, Danny was down 8 CS with an equal wave. I look back, he's up 30 and got a solo turret.
Yeah,
I don't know what
rich.
Unified went and did, but he stopped farming for the last 4 minutes straight.
Yeah, I mean, they've just kind of been grouped, right? You know, they moved out towards that dragon. They were playing through mid, not through bot. EG had access to bot lane, so Danny was able to actually push out that wave before moving over. You know, then after the dragon, Danny goes back to bot. Where does Unified go? He groups with the team. He goes over towards mid. You know, this is a very classic EG strategy. They prioritize, you know, getting solo gold on Danny, and we'll see. Now that he has been set up for success, can he actually pay that back to the team? Can he have that big pop-off game that everyone is looking for, hoping for here, you know, for those LCS fans? Up towards topside now, stock standard stuff. EG gonna move him around the map, try to get him as much gold as possible, but Juhan, of course, in the area, looking to cover, keep base safe on up on the top side, and we'll be playing heavily for vision control as the Umbral Glaive, and that is gonna help a lot here to deny these wards, and also has, of course, the second Herald that they could, you know, look to try to crash on top. You see the assist pings up towards top, and you see Juhan heading up there. I think that's what they're going to be looking for.
Danny knocks down a ward, gets back up to the top side of the map, and as long as he doesn't die to the Ahri, and with heal, flash, ult reflexes, I mean, cleanse is kind of the ideal against Ahri to get out of the charm and get away, but as long as he plays safely enough, should be okay. Chain, nice try. Wants to predict Unify, doesn't get it. Didn't juke left quickly enough, and jojopyun just going to take some damage to the play. Has to sustain back up here. We sit at this 1,000 gold difference. Teams have traded turrets, they've traded farm. We still have a 30 CSD in the bottom lane because of funnel from EG for the most part. Kaiwing goes in for wards. They're going to find that first on, and here comes the fight. Charm, knock up on a one. Danny's here as well, inspired. Gets out with his flash.
EG have to run. TP's coming through. They don't have one.
Shot Barrage going to tag Danny for a bit of damage. Little TL flare.
That's actually really good, though, for EG. You trade flashes on your junglers, you force out the TP, which now gives Impact the ability to kind of play more aggressively in that side lane. Hanabi here, going to push Impact back, but see if it amounts to anything more. Don't expect it to, and they're going to drop Herald topside, so they will get that crash. They will take down the tower. No local tower gold, though, actually going the way of PSG, so not going to get too much from it, unfortunately for them.
Yep, the rule is Shelly's charges, globally shelled turret plates.
Ooh, they're going to go for this.
Does not share the tower itself.
Oh, Jojo got spotted.
On a ward. Jojo got seen, but a 1v1 wasn't afraid, but the 2v1's gonna be enough. Ignite takes him down. Kill number 3 for Evil Geniuses.
The burst coming through there. The isolated Q from the Kai'Sa so much, plus the Ignite, the Electro procs from Jojo. They light up Bay. They get the ulti off him and get the kill. Danny does not have to expend his own ultimate and only the Ignite used. So really, really nice. They're going to get to push in this wave as well, deny more farm. Things looking good here for EG, but the gold's still very close. And this is one of those games that it's playing at a slow enough pace that one fight really can decide it, right? Yes, EG has the advantage here. Yes, they're going to be slightly ahead in gold. They're going to be setting up for this third dragon. But if PSG wins this next fight at the dragon and gets a Baron off of it, like all of a sudden, your lead doesn't matter anymore. So EG gonna really have to execute here. They do have the 2-item spike here on Danny earlier than Unified has finished his, and if Unified does not have that Muramana prior to the dragon fight, it's possible that PSG just decide to actually give it up and wait for the soul point.
Yeah, which is obviously scary because
it
now
is very scary.
You know,
even a steal.
Right. Yeah. If you play it poorly 5 minutes from now, Ocean Soul is, you know, it quintuples the lead basically of the game as it is right now, which to be fair is quite small, but yeah, it does meaningfully change quite a lot about the game state.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really big for the side lane for Tryndamere because Gnar is not putting out such an impressive amount of damage that you're able to really kind of power through that. I do think that becomes very difficult. Impact, of course, has had the Gale Force for a while. He has both the sums available. Juhan Inspired, they're the ones missing Flash. EG has first move in the river. They're controlling vision here around that dragon pit. But of course, the scuttle was grabbed by PSG. Impact threatening the flank, but Hanabi does see him.
He gets back over the wall, still spotted by the sweeper though. They know he finally gets out of the brush. Information gained. Dragon alive now. Vulcan would be the primary engage
they gave
here.
Up mid again. You know, PSG is not really prioritizing the waves. This is the same problem they had last time, where they gave up bot push. EG pushes that in. Again, PSG not contesting mid, so now they just give up the wave. EG are on the dragon here. Jojo on the side.
Close to Mega. Juhan wants to get the steal. He's going to try. Claimed by Inspired, and Impact goes in, finds one, the crit. Now here comes the engage again. A huge charm. Triple Gnar onto 3, and that's going to be a kill taken down. jojopyun low, gets the shield, gets away. Unified staying alive. Kaiwing now chased around. Should find it. Impact just barely. Low on health, but might get away from Hanabi as jojopyun still in for the damage. Hanabi gets the house over the wall and trades him back. Still though, 3-2 favoring EG, the Dragon Soul point as well. Victory for the LCS squad.
Yeah, things going well for EG, but big plays from Hanabi prevent them from being an absolute disaster here. You can see it's the attempt at the smite steal over the wall a little bit early there from Juhan, and then Impact preying on that Graves. The engage here really nice from the Rakan. Kaiwing goes in, and Hanabi slams it home, dunking Danny down. Can't actually get the flash off to escape, and then Impact playing really well, gets the chase down, juking back and forth, does have the E come back up, a house over the wall. Hanabi guesses well, gets another kill for his team. 2 kills for him. Woo. And he put out a lot of damage there, and Danny again, CC'd 100-0. Kaiwing and Hanabi showing off that engage. You have got to be careful because he's not playing cleanse. He doesn't really have the ability to get out of there if he gets caught by the initial part of the CC chain. Unless they can keep him away, the rest is coming through.
You mentioned the item spikes. Just now did Muramana come through for Unified, so the difference in farm, definitely relevant, right? He could have been a bigger threat, could have maybe gotten that a little bit more done and maybe changed the calculus around, maybe 3-2 in their favor instead. But we look back at the game, and it's a 2,000 gold difference with, call it 1,000 gold of stats from the 3 dragons.
Yeah.
Like, it's not trivial, but it's not massive, right? It's just like, okay, 5-on-5 is like a 2.53k gold lead for EG. Like, that's winnable. It's tough, but it's winnable. But the point is that Ocean Soul is just over 3 minutes away. And we have yet to see PSG really win the smite fights when they have existed. It's been Inspired getting the better of it when they both had a fair shot at it. A lot of them CC'd away. You know, nothing really against Juhan here, but he hasn't gotten the steal yet.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, things are definitely getting scary here. Well, I think Juhan was spotted. Yeah, you can see the question mark there. Was spotted the corner of Jojo's eye. EG shoving in mid here. They know jungle is towards top, mid is towards top, so they have the man advantage mid. They'll push this in. They'll use that to secure vision here in that barren area. Because it's about that time. If you win a fight here, it's definitely possible to be taken. If one team overloads the other side of the map, you can threaten the rush down here. Kai'Sa really high DPS, who has the PD and the Kraken. Unified feeling a bit worried about that. Does use the ultimate to check, and Impact just moving forward here.
And Shirelli's for the disengage, though. Impact gonna take some health damage, but not drop. Saves his own ulti. He gets a, I believe, 90-second cooldown off the Shirelli's, maybe 2 minutes, but it will be back in time for the Dragon. Nice damage from jojopyun. It's gonna land for a stun. Unify gonna cleanse. Charm. Kaiwing not gonna go in. That'll be an ulti down again.
Yeah, ulti down. Jojo got to be a little bit careful here. Will jump back. One critical thing to note, EG only 2,000 gold ahead, but objective bounties have spawned because of that 3-dragon lead here. So PSG, you cannot ignore the push in the side lane here. If Hanabi's going to be shoving up, if he's going to be on that split push duty, every tower is that much more valuable. And if EG were to lose a fight, were to lose a smite fight, it's that much more punishing. This new system does allow for a lot more of those potential comebacks as a result.
And Undertour goes from being worth 500 to being worth 1K. Definitely does improve the amount of comeback you can get, but obviously you look at the scoreboard, you definitely do favor EG, but yes, does PSG play blameless from now? Right? Does EG fail to keep their lanes under wraps, basically, is the question. Yeah,
and I think for EG, we're kind of trying to wait and see, how close can they get to those next items. I.e., big one for Danny. If we can get that second item completed here as well for Jojo, that would be really big. Inspired and Impact have already completed theirs. The Death Dance as well as the Navori Quick Blades are going to be really, really big. Navori Quick Blades, especially I think since the nerfs to Tryndamere, the kind of reduction of cooldown that you got back for those crits, it's more important. It really does allow you to stick to some of these members that are pretty slippery over on the PSG side.
Especially when they're quite tanky, right? Random one's done for Hanabi on 2 items. Looking for the play now. Vulcan gonna lock up 1. Hanabi gonna stay alive though. Gnar quite tanky. And Vulcan now out of cooldowns. Here comes Bay. Charms on the 1. jojopyun may stay alive. Zonya's immune to the damage. Knock up for Kaiwing. Here comes Impact. Gnar hits nothing. And in goes Impact. In goes Inspire. They've got 1 so far. Juhan's next. 3 down for Danny. Tryndamere finds the 4th. EG won the fight they needed. Now what do they want? Is it Baron? Is it Dragon Souls? The base? Anything that EG wants, they can plot and they can claim. Hanabi should drop an ace for Evil Geniuses.
5-0 ace for EG. A huge win for them. They're going to get multiple towers. They're going to get the Baron. They're going to get the Ocean Soul. You ask what they want. They want it all here. Tryndamere will solo up the Dragon. Kai'Sa and Lee Sin will 2-man the Baron. And this game is all of a sudden feeling all but over unless we can see some sort of a miracle steal from Unified. He has the Ezreal. That's kind of what you're hoping for at this point, but not even going to shoot it until just now, and shouldn't be able to steal because Inspired does have Smite.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Thankfully, Inspired did not early Smite. Doesn't pull over versus Danny. We're going to be fine there. No Baron secure. So, 7,000 gold, and Ocean Soul and Vulcan starts it up.
Yeah, and so much of this is just about the pressure that they're actually putting down here onto Hanabi. Vulcan starting it up. They get the initial chunk. Bay's coming in from behind, lands the charm onto Jojo. But then you see Hanabi here. They go in onto him, flashing through, and Impact. The sidestep there on the Gnar ulti was so nice. He popped the Ghost. He's going in with the Gale Force, and Hanabi's thinking, Gnar's going to time out. I need to actually stun Impact. As soon as that is down, there is no more threat for PSG. The carries pile in. Danny's flashing forward. Jojo's going forward, and they're finishing off those kills. It's such a difference between those two fights just because we couldn't see the big engage from the Rakan comboed with the Gnar, and now EG have everything they need to cleanly close this game.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but the ultimates for Ezreal and Rakan were down barely. Like 5 seconds left in those, starting that fight. So that scuffle we had at 90 seconds till Baron, till Dragon, like, if that was up, Kaiwing CC locks jojopyun, he dies before he gets to Zonias or whatever. Like, I think that actually turns into a kill. But didn't get locked down, right? And I think so much that would have changed if the fight was 5 seconds later, or they hadn't burned ults for nothing in the prior one. So, really unfortunate for PSG, but EG get the timing and they win the fight cleanly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you have to give credit, to Impact for that little bit of pressure he did put on mid lane that forced them to kind of respect that. It was the Shirelli's popped early, and then I think Kaiwing got a little bit nervous that they were going to commit to Unified. He popped the ulti to kind of dissuade EG from going forward. And that being down, these tight timings can mean a lot here. EG will take the quick reset. Haven't taken too much just yet. But I think it may be IE on base. No, not quite for Danny. But you do see the Shadow Flames complete there for Jojo. Stopwatch in for him. Stopwatch in for Inspired. The luxury items starting to come through. And it's the jojopyun classic. He's always going to upgrade the Dark Seal whenever he sees an opportunity.
Yep. And as the only AP threat in the team, Shadow Flame, I dare you to buy MR. Go, please, buy MR against Tryndamere, Lee Sin, and Kai'Sa. Like, please, right? Go buy a Hexdrinker, I dare you. I'd love for you to do that and let my carries kill you even faster. So, goes for the flat pin build, says, please build wrong.
Yep, and it puts so much pressure, I think, on Kaiwing to have a perfect exhaust, because Unified is building armor. You know, he is not going to be building that Hexdrinker. He has no HP, doesn't really have any survivability there, no MR, so you've got to watch out for Jojo, who has the ability to threaten that 100-0 at this point.
Force the Gale Force out and an ult out of the Leona. It might be enough to knock down the turret, but Danny gonna play respectfully. You know, Charm. I can't flash, but still, Charm W could always be a possible.
And EG, I think, are trying to play for this on the next wave, because Inspired's pushing in mid. You know, they were in the 4v5, so I'm not really looking to fight there. Hanabi cancels the base, though. He's still in Mega. But EG, until you see someone mid, you play respectful. They do now see them there in mid. Yes, the Baron will expire, but they're going to be able to clean up this low HP tower and continue taking away the enemy jungle. You know, red buff has respawned. They can grab that up here for Danny, and he has got to be getting very close to the IE. He did, in fact, take the pit stop for the LDR on 3. A lot of armor there on the Gnar. Of course, Frozen Heart being built up by Unified, so I think it's a respectable choice, but when he hits the IE, it's going to be a massive spike.
Yeah, it's going to look really good for him. He's going to be on 4 items pretty soon, and of course, Unified, though we get some haste, is just kind of building more defensively, and will not have that burst damage. It's the wrong build. Obviously, he's against quite a lot of dive, but just, you know, the tail these 80 carries. You've got a 60 CS lead in the bottom lane now, 5 kills. There is the IE, and he's on towards the QSS or Hexdrinker.
Yeah. I think QSS would make a lot of sense here. You know, try to be able to reposition. You know, if you do get CC'd up, if you do get caught by that Mega Gnar, it is very important, because they certainly have the burst to take you down if they can CC chain, things like Charm, things like Mega Gnar. You know, very, very dangerous. I will say, Bay, you know, he is going kind of that more utility style build, which is very common for Ahri. But when you do go Everfrost Zonias, when you go CDR boots, your 100-0 threat is a lot lower than with some of these other builds. And when you combo that with the fact that they are behind and there is Ocean Soul on the other team, it makes it really hard to see kind of the comeback potential here, barring anything other than, you know, the perfect Mega Gnar, the perfect engage from Rakan where EG are stacked up, because I think that's going to be what it takes really at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. Would like to see maybe a slightly squishier build from an assassin.
Me too.
Who's, you know, going to be so easy to get away from stuff, but whatever. Not for the game really is item builds. I think it's close enough in most cases that it's who's played better League of Legends. It's been pretty securely EG. Every single team fight's been EG favored. Every objective that's ultimately mattered has been favored for them as well. Obviously the 4-0 run in Dragons, but now we will have a disjointed Baron versus Elder. That's a 1-for-1 that EG don't really want to give up, so we'll see how they play it out.
Yeah, and usually what ends up happening, you know, these days is the team that's behind threatens going to Baron. But the problem is you just have one person, you know, can kind of solo the other side, and then you can try to dissuade over by that Baron or threaten to steal over the wall and take both. So we'll see what they're going to try to go for here. But EG are just completing so many important items. The QSS we mentioned is through. GA is through. You know, 3rd item completed now for Impact. There are some good completions on the other side. You know, Void Staff. We see the Chem Punk Chainsword coming through, the Frozen Heart. So a lot of people completing these items, but EG's carries are just a lot stronger right now. And in particular, Danny just has a massive lead. He's a good ADCS up, you know, closing in on the Flame Horizon, plus has 5 kills to his name and all the tower gold.
Yeah, he's going to feel pretty good about this one. Lungs and hands are there. QSS Flash get away from the engage, and the man will stay alive. So now we see what's next up. Impact still marking off to the side. Knows with Flash, Ghost, Gale Force, ulti, like, he shouldn't die for free off anything. The man has like 7 ways of getting out to make sure it's going to be okay. And now we just keep ticking down until the epic objectives come up. And it's going to force some kind of altercation. Mid lane wave belongs to PSG right now.
But EG could just rush this because Hanabi just timed out of the Mega Gnar. I think you just started up immediately and you say, all right, you don't have time to actually build your Rage Bar. He's on cooldown, so EG recognized this. JoJo's just going to play on zoning duty, and they're just going to rush this. PSG, I mean, you can try to force the fight, but it's still into Ocean Soul.
He's spot the Graves. He's going to try, not going to find it. There's Elder Dragon. This could be an easy fight for EG. Already Trin's knocked down. The Impact misses the ulti, but 2 in for jojopyun so far. 3rd in for the Kai'Sa, and it's time for 4 and 5. Unified, turns out you're a solo artist here. Gonna dodge the Q, but there's nothing else he can really do about this one. The wave's gonna crash in towards the base, and it might be enough time to end the game.
Yeah, I think they've got time here. 40 seconds on Bay and Hanabi. That's a long time, and Vulcan here trying to stop the recall out of the base. If he spots him here, it is absolutely all over. They find him.
They find him. They're gonna get the kill. A kick into the base. Here, you're home. No, it's our home. You're gonna drop for this one. There's the final kill, the final nail in the coffin. 3-6. And EG are going to walk over PSG Talon. They do not go Nexus turrets, though. They say time is not enough. Double inhibitor and a reset looking at Baron is the play. They will not end just yet.
Yeah, not wanting to risk any sort of a throw at the Nexus here as the respawns are coming through. Will Danny get spotted here? Stop that reset. No, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. They are already over towards the Baron, and they have a minute 30 here on the Elder, so they can use that to clean this one out. More items coming through now for EG. Jojo just playing guard duty. Oh, he's gone!
Woo! You know, I think this is a good time for a segue. Grab your exclusive Skip Prize Prime Gaming emote for when you jump over a wall and, hey, blow someone up out of nowhere. Well done, jojopyun. I think in my mind I saw that emote over his head, so well
19
done.
stacks on the Magi's now. Playing with that confidence that you love to see. EG, very dominant here against PSG. A 28-minute win as well against, Saigon Buffalo. So clearly looking as though they are that step above the other teams, on the kind of bottom half here at MSI. And it remains to be seen if they can really step up and take that fight to RNG, T1, G2, who have been the big dogs. But this is a very important win for EG. They can be really happy about how they've played in this game.
Yep. And so securely looking like the number 4 team, although we'll see if they can punch above their weight in future games in the Rumble stage. But PSG never really threatened them. Unless you think their scaling was far better, it was never about to be an EG loss. Looking now at the final bits of this game, 34-30 on the clock, looking a little bit more. Nice Gnar. Hanabi going to try his best, but against a Baron, it's not going to happen. There's another kill on the board. Impact gets his 4th right now. He's got 6 for the Wonder Twins here. jojopyun and Danny both killing a dozen between them. And now we get the Nexus for itself. Impact is going to go for the swag stopwatch.
Strike pose.
Ult is available. Nexus will fall. Evil Geniuses rise to 2-2.
Nicely done by EG. Really important win for them, for their hopes at making the knockout stage here. Moving to 2-2. Sitting alone in 4th place, they're going to be right now. Of course, there are some more games to play. We can see what does shift around, but of course, the favorites to maintain their position there. And it's an important game, I think, from Jojo. Again, I think he's been turning in some really strong games. 3 games in a row now, I think he's performed pretty well. The Rise, the TF game previous to that as well, I think we're all good. And it's really nice to see him picking up some steam. This one still seemed a little bit hesitant there from Danny, I think, at times, but it was a solid game. He got that goal lead, was a big contributor in team fights, only having that 1 death, the really good engage from Kaiwing and follow-up from Hanabi. But really, EG were cruising in this one. Looking very, very good.
Well, beautifully done. So a good win for EG. Now, as we head to the break, be sure to listen to Zeri, the Spark of Zon, on the League of Legends official playlist on Spotify. You can find that song and more on the Spotify League of Legends Hub.
Red Bull gives you wings.
This city never sleeps, chemically brought down on its knees. With every breath that I breathe, clenched fists and gritting teeth. Tonight the energy flowing in me is waiting for release. Thunder beneath my feet, I sight you on my life. Until the dawn, the darkness falls, and I lose control. I feel it in my bones, a spark to lead us through the shadows. Can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul, a road to guide us through the sorrow. But can I calm this storm inside me? This electricity, a part of me that's under pressure. Charged up, my fuse igniting a sight you wanna see. I'm outside, pointing to the sky. Gonna make the earth shake, cause you can't contain me. Voltage bursts through the black of my eyes. Put my finger on the trigger and I'll shock you, baby. Against the odds, until the darkness falls, and I lose control. I feel it in my bones, a spark to lead us through the shadows. Can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul, a road to guide us through the sorrow. But can I calm this storm inside me? I feel it in my bones, a spark to lead us through the shadows. But can I fight the way before me? It's coursing through my soul, a road to guide us through the sorrow. Can I calm this storm?
Ready to fire, ready or not, we letting it go on.
Hello and welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. My name is Dagda and I'm going to be joined by Ox to break down PSG Talon versus Evil Geniuses. But just before we get into the nitty gritty, this was a game that had major implications for two of these teams that are battling off for the semi-finals. So I just want to toss it over very quickly, Ox, to the standings where you can see EG now sitting 2-2, just nestled in nicely below T1.
I mean, they'd be happy just to close it out here and have that full play spot. I feel like for PSG, this was a really instrumental match. They're now 1-3. They know they have to beat EG next round if they want to try and match their head-to-head. So really instrumental victory there for EG.
Yeah, and we can kind of see for Evil Geniuses as well that they got off to a pretty good start at the early stages of this game, right? We saw them try and go for these dives that didn't quite work out for them, but when we started to get into those skirmishes and those team fights, that's really where Evil Geniuses were able to take over.
Yeah, and I feel like Kaiwing had a pretty good game on the Rakan, but like that first pick blind Ezreal, I mean, I am so tired of blind Ezreal. It keeps getting matched by Kai'Sa. We saw G2 do it to fantastic effect against RNG, and then PSG blind first pick it. It gets matched by Kai'Sa. You outmatched in lane, you get outscaled, and it felt like EG could take that one so slow, confident they'd win no matter what.
Yeah, and it felt like they definitely came in with a game plan from Evil Genius as well. You could kind of see them tossing the Ahri back and forth, going, no, trust me, you take it. You guys take it. That's where we're going to see. But jojopyun actually had to come out on top with that LeBlanc, and it looked immaculate in those fights. But there is such a huge match coming up. We're going to loop back to this game during MSI cooldown following our last match of the day. Until then, the history behind our featured match presented by Mercedes-Benz, we're going to shoot it over to Quickshot to take us into that game.